Yeah, by the way, there are things that we're going to do in the future that I can't tell you about yet. Yeah, so like, this is not it. It's like, in many cases, you remember how I said, like, we can't begin the process of licensing a manga until the manga actually comes out? That doesn't mean that we're not going after stuff that we can't technically begin. It also doesn't mean that there isn't stuff that we don't have the rights to now, but just the signatures haven't been countersigned and all that. So, you know, I'd like to say that we're going to announce, but I can't, or that we're going to do, which will be very interesting.
You know people are going to try and lip read this video now.
So how do you guys get a lot of the stuff you have in Japan? Do you guys just have like a subscription to all the different manga stuff that comes out of it, or do you have people who are over there that send you stuff, or like how do you get your mountains and mountains of stuff?
They are mountains, and it's a combination of ways. Several times a month I get a big cardboard box full of manga, containing manga magazines and tankobon, and they really do fill up my office. You really go by the cubic foot. This explains why Japanese don't collect manga. In other words, they don't collect, whereas Americans save the comic books, which they come out every month, Japanese don't save the magazines. They throw them away because they fill up their little spaces, you know, their 6 tatami mat rooms pretty quick. So actually I can see the cubic feet, like every month, like several cubic feet. It's like a 3-dimensional Tetris game.
You could build cubicles out of them.
And eventually it's reduced to little animal trails in the woods. My way. I do actually end up giving a lot of the magazines away. The problem is that I have to do it at local cons, because like I can't, this weighs a ton. So I can only like, in Portland or Seattle cons, like I'll bring like a big rolling carrier full of magazines and stuff like that. So that's one way. Like everyone else, we go to Kinokuniya, you know, we buy stuff. We have publishers, you know, pushing stuff on us saying, hey, check this out, it's really cool. And in one case, there are things that we may have been fans of, like Satsuma Gishiden, manga that we've known about for a long time and like to do. There may be cases where a company lost a license, and then maybe it becomes available. With the case of Who Fighter and Heart of Darkness by Seiho Takizawa, it was the mangaka's sister who came up to us, saying and said, my brother made this really cool manga. And it was really cool, and no one had heard of this guy in the U.S. So, yeah, there's all kinds of different ways. More questions? Yes, please. I don't know if we're going to be at AX. We're definitely going to be at Comic-Con. So, and I'm pretty certain we're going to announce some stuff there. Dark Horse, again, is mainly a comics company. We are, I think, the 3rd largest comics company in the US, but only 4th largest in terms of manga releases. There's Viz, there's Tokyo Pop, there's Del Rey, and then there's us. We do have the tremendous advantage, though, that we do come to conventions and give panels. But generally speaking, if it's we tend to go to more comics conventions than we do to manga and anime conventions. I think we only go to about 5 or 6 manga anime conventions a year. We're going to more than we used to, though. Like, I don't even think we went to Expo for the first 15 years we were doing manga.
But you guys have been doing manga longer than Expo has existed, have you?
20 years, right?
We just had our 20th anniversary of manga. Our first manga we published was May of... Yeah, so it was last year, 1988. May of 1988, it was Gojira. Gojira! By Kazuhisa Iwata. That was his adaptation of the 1984 Godzilla movie. That here was called, I think, Godzilla 85. Right after that, we did Outlanders by Joji Manabe, and we've never looked back since. So, more questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
Any updates on the Shinjuku project with Amano Sensei?
Oh, yeah. Shinjuku, I believe, is coming out in April of 2010. We have done a number of art books by Yoshitaka Amano, who I'm sure doesn't need any introduction to you. But previously, all of our art books have been translations of art books that appeared in Japan. This is different. This is the first time we're producing an original Amano art book that has not appeared anywhere. Matter of fact, our version may be translated into Japanese. It's a collaboration with a Hollywood screenwriter who goes by the name Mink. Minka's part of Quentin Tarantino's group, A Band Apart. Lawrence Bender, Tarantino, and all that. He hasn't directed any films, but he's done a lot of music videos. Anyway, he's a big Amano fan like everybody else. And he had this idea of kind of hard-boiled sorcery set in the year 2020, about 11 years from now. Basically, what if a Yakuza decided that it wasn't enough to have earthly power, he wanted to have spiritual power too? It's basically gangsters start studying black magic. And so there's this guy who's a former U.S. Army Ranger or something. He lost his sister years ago, thought she was dead. Then one day he gets a postcard out of the blue. Turns out she's somewhere in Shinjuku. So he wants to see if he can find her and drag her out of whatever trouble she's in. And when he gets to Shinjuku, he finds he's running into these Yakuza, who are basically trying to unleash hell on earth in the name of, more profits and criminal control. So Amano was originally, he translated this into Japanese. Amano liked it and said, okay, I'm going to do 20 paintings based on this. And they said, no, I'm going to do 40. I'm going to do 60. He sent us 100 paintings.
Wow.
And the concept really put him on fire. And so this is going to be a very nice book. I think it's going to be kind of square bound. It'll be about the size of an old LP jacket. It's like 12 inches by 12 inches.
Wow.
Make good coffee.
And we're very excited about doing it. And again, sort of like we're doing an original project with Clamp, this is our first original project with Amano. And as a comics publisher, we feel very right about doing this kind of thing. Yeah, more questions? Please.
With like bookstores, cutting down on shelf space, because of the economy and how they're doing. How's your relationship with like direct market and bookstore buyers been over the past year?
I'll just get to that moment. I should ask at this point if everyone will please start to pass back all those books, the Clover, Oh My Goddess Colors, you're not laughing at me because of my naivete, right? And the printouts. We do need all that stuff back, so. And these still exist? Okay, yeah. Right. Okay, very promising. Every time we do a manga, we sit down with the booksellers. Let's say I've got Oh My Goddess Volume 32 in Japanese. We sit down for the people with Borders from Barnes & Noble, from Amazon. And even before it's translated, they can see a lot about how it's going to be. And they'll tell us, well, we're going to order so many thousand copies, based on that. One reason we've been doing the omnibus format is because, as you said, there's a shelf space problem. And what do we got? How are we doing? Okay, is there one volume of this out there? Okay, it exists. Great, cool. Yeah, I do need that passed up. I'm sorry, because I have to get ready for the next panel. Even though an omnibus collects stuff that's in 4 different volumes, it actually takes up less room than 4 volumes by themselves, because it only has one cover. Amazon, by the way, has been our biggest uptick in manga sales has been with Amazon. It's really quite dramatic. Part of it is, of course, the advantage that Amazon has. They're not a brick-and-mortar store, and they don't have to maintain warehouses. But the nice thing about Amazon is that they're also more friendly to the more seinen titles and stuff which may be, in a shrink wrapper. So some of the mainstream bookstores are reluctant to order that. So you're getting into a thing which is very complicated, but we definitely try to pay attention to what the bookstores want us to do, because after all, that's where people buy their manga. Well, I have to get out for the next panel, but I want to thank you all very much for coming here.